Hey everyone, hope you're having an amazing night. I am about to get into some of the other news that Guild Wars, I believe ArenaNet released this week, I think. Let's have a look. It's about raiding and convergences coming back into the game. Finally, after people have been saying, "Bring back raiding! Bring back raiding!" I think that's what they're doing. They're all doing that in the comment sections. They're doing it in all the forums. Let's go over there now. This was released on July 24th, and that was 2 days ago. Thank you very much. Now, if you saw my last video, you can go watch that if you didn't see it, you can go watch it in the corner up there, top right. It's the previous week's blog post. Now we are covering the return of raiding, convergences in Janthir Wilds. So, hello Tyrians. Hello, how's it going? We are less than a month away. Sorry, I think I'm just excited about doing this. From the launch of Guild Wars 2, Janthir Wilds, and while there's plenty to be excited about for the August 20 release, oh, it's coming so fast. I'm not ready. It's coming so fast. I'm not ready. I don't have all my legendary stuff. It's a problem. Players can also look forward to the newest raid and convergence going live in our first major update in November. You'll be able to explore a mysterious mountain region, and as you ascend the mountain, you'll face off against opponents who won't go down without a fight. Was this Batman? Was this a Joker, actually? Players will also get to choose how to encounter these fights, either a 50-player convergence event or a 10-player raid wing, our first new raid in 5 years. Holy moly. So, that's what they're doing with this. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Convergences are becoming the thing. Convergences are becoming raids for large groups of people, like open world PvE. Open world, quote unquote. It's obviously still an instance, but you know what I mean. But every map's an instance, right? So that's very interesting. That's a great idea. Our team is currently hard at work developing this new raid, so while we can't share all the details yet, we can provide an overview of what to expect and explain why we are reintroducing raids, along with some insight into what players can hope for in the future. And wow, that looks great. That looks really great. It could use a little bit of work, but overall pretty good. This is probably going to explain, well, this is kind of long, a little bit long. It's probably going to explain what I'm thinking, which is it's really great that not only there's a raid that you can do this with, but the story from the raids is now going to be available in convergences in open world. This is really, really great news, because trying to get into a raid sometimes, or having the time to do a raid, if you can't devote that time, it's you can't get the content in another way. But this brings it to us. Genius. All right, the return of raiding. Let's try not to yawn here. I'm probably gonna yawn. In the past, raids were self-contained instances with their own stories built for 10-player groups. Our goal with the upcoming raid is to allow players to experience the story in a way that works best for them. The raid will be integrated into the main storyline. What? And players who might be hesitant to join a raid group will be able to enjoy their own personal narrative. The 50-player version is built as a convergence similar in structure to those found in Guild Wars Secrets of the Obscure. Those participating in the 10-player raid will find the story to be more heroic, with a focus on the formidable enemies they face rather than the NPCs involved in the narrative. Right. So does that mean the enemies are more difficult, or is there differences in the story and how it's kind of focused? And also, I'm a little bit confused here in the fact that it said the raid is integrated and we can have our own personal narrative. But is that personal narrative the convergence, or is that separate? They kind of wrote that in a little bit of a weird way. I think the convergence is the part where they're saying it's their own personal narrative. Not 100% sure on that. But let's continue. While there will be some differences between the 50-player and 10-player versions. Right, so there's only those versions. The team has recognized the importance of maintaining a sense of continuity between both experiences. We look forward to watching players discover and master these mechanics in each setting. Right, so the mechanics are going to be different. That makes a lot of sense. This is going to be a lot more difficult, but I'm interested to hear or see if the story varies slightly. Maybe the focus on certain things is different. That'd be interesting, and I'd love to try out the new raid as well. I've only ever done, I think, 1 to 2 raid bosses in the past. I'm not a very big raider. With the introduction of our new raid encounter, some of you might be wondering if we will continue to create raids in the future. The short answer is maybe. Raids require a significant amount of development resources, but only a small subset of players engage with the 10-player group instance content. Makes sense, yeah. Which is part of the reason it has been 5 years since our last one. This new raid serves as a test to see how we can support raids moving forward. Originally, we attempted to solve the cost problem with raids through strike missions, a new game mode designed to be a bridge between players and raids. This time, instead of trying to give players bridge content in the hopes that it leads them to raids, we're just giving them the raid content from the start in the form those interested in it really want. Players who want a 10-player instance mechanics heavy version can play that, and the players who prefer a large-scale open world experience with fewer barriers to entry can also experience the content that way. Meanwhile, integrating raid content into the story lets us fit its development into our annual release schedule. We aim to extend story assets to support raids and gauge players' reactions to raids that have been integrated into the story. This is amazing stuff. Amazing. I'm loving reading this. You know, initially I thought this was going to be the more boring article, but the one before this, like, actually can't top what they're talking about here, because I'm very interested in the story aspects of stuff, and this game always has a high, and has had a high focus on story. That's what I love about it. That's what brings me back every time. Or, well, I never really leave, but that's what keeps me here. The story. That's great. They can fit it into the annual development. Sometime after the raid's release in November, its challenge mode will become available. Additionally, players participating in the 10-player raid can anticipate a legendary mode, offering a highly coveted purple title. Ooh, interesting. That's cool. I kind of want that now. I want to be able to beat that. God, that'd be difficult. I can imagine. This looks great. I like the map. I like the map style and the look of it and stuff. No idea what's going on, but it looks interesting. So, convergences in Janthir Wilds. Golden cubs huddle closely around the village's claw, their eyes wide with awe and excitement as he begins to recount a harrowing tale. It's a story of bravery and strategy in which a band of 50 fearless Tyrians embarked on a daring mission as they ascended the mountain. As the tale unfolds and you take up the challenge with this encounter, you will find a strong ally in your Warclaw mount, which will aid in this new adventure. Warclaw is a huge part of the convergence at least, and perhaps even the raid too. Listen closely as the village's claw weaves the narrative. He is an elementalist, or she. Each encounter promises unexpected challenges and thrilling surprises. During your encounter with these enemies, you might observe a noticeable shift in difficulty compared to what you experienced in Guild Wars 2 SotO, Secrets of the Obscure. We fine-tuned these bosses to present a more advanced challenge than in previous convergences, necessitating coordinated efforts from all party members to secure victory. This is bad. Very bad. 50 people doing this? I don't think so. Like, Umbral was hard enough, and I don't think I even have defeated Umbral yet, or maybe once. That's going to be very difficult, so I think I'm going to much prefer doing a 10-man raid rather than this, so everyone knows what they're doing. Completing convergences in Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds will award players with essences that can be used to craft legendary gear, and yes, these essences will be compatible with the legendary obsidian armor available in Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure, as well as the new legendary spear and legendary backpack arriving in the quarterly updates from Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds. Essences from convergences will be renamed Rift Essences with 3 rarities to streamline the rewards. That's cute, but what's with, I don't know, the graphics, something's off. It's too sharp. Yeah, that's it, basically. We hope you enjoyed hearing about some of the post-launch content coming to Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds. See you in Tyria. Right, so this part I would say is the most interesting, one of the most interesting portions of it. The essences we get beforehand will be able to be used with the legendary gear. Like you can craft, you can still, the new stuff you can continually put towards the armor. So I guess they're reworking how it works, I guess, or what you can do. That's great news for anyone who hasn't completed it, like myself. But also, it's important to play the new maps to get the content for the essences for Legendary Spirit and Legendary Backpack too. However, they're going to be renamed Rift Essences with 3 rarities. Is that going to be the same for the Rift events and stuff? I don't know. Great question, John. I hope they answer it. Anyway, that is the whole article. Return of raiding and convergences. Really interesting stuff. Very happy to read this and discover this information. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Really fun to read this one. I don't know why, but it just was. The story stuff, the convergence stuff, the raids, just very fun. Anyway, that is going to be the end of this video, so I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye.